Chezhead was the founder and leader of the Facepunch Republic. He was undoubtedly one of the most influential players that ever played on 2B2T. Without him, 2B2T's history would most likely be extremely different, since without the Facepunch Republic, most bases and groups would have never been created. Without further ado, let's get into the interview. How did you discover 2B2T?
Alright, so basically what happened is I was on Facepunch a lot in 7th or 8th grade, and I was also on 4chan a little bit, I think on some of the video game, like V or VG, stuff like that. And then I found this 2B2T just randomly, I don't even remember. And I started going in it, and I kind of found it was an interesting concept, and then that made this thread on Facepunch. So I think it was 4chan.
What did Spawn look like when you first joined?
It was not as obsidian-y, like there was no natural blocks anywhere, right? There's no like natural generation, but it was like more navigable, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't think there was anyone deliberately trying to like prevent people from leaving it. It was more just like years and years of griefing. So yeah, it was more navigable, but and it didn't have giant walls to my knowledge, but it was still very chaotic.
Do you remember basing with anyone?
Yeah, the names are kind of escaping me nowadays, honestly. Like, I remember there's like this guy named Isaac, I think. I don't really remember the names of any of the original people.
Have you met Housemaster? If so, what was he like?
Never did. I don't think he never like, I mean, I'm just like a tiny blip in the entire 2B2D continuum, so I don't think I ever kind of showed up on his radar.
How far out was considered far out back then?
I think 2K was considered far out. Hacks weren't as prevalent at the time, so it was like, it wasn't as dangerous. So yeah, I think far out, I mean, if you went 10K out, absolutely, that was pretty far out to my knowledge at the time, but I might have just been a dumbass, you know?
What clients did people use back then?
I don't think anyone used clients. I mean, I think hacks were just starting to become a thing when I was kind of done with the game, and I think that's kind of one of the reasons I left it. I mean, people might have used hacks and just no one really knew about them or something, or no one talked about it, but I just used the vanilla client, and most people I know did too.
Can you go into detail about the history of the Facepunchers?
Yeah, so do you know much about Facepunch, like the forum?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's like a gaming forum based around Gary's Mod and Rust, but it was a really big place for early Minecraft, right? There was like Minecraft general threads. There'd just be like one thread and it'd just be about Minecraft. And you know, you show your bases and everything. Like back, I played alpha and everything, and people were showing off their like their spleef arenas and all that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's this forum called Games in Progress, which was primarily for people that were making servers and then wanted other Facepunchers to join. So for instance, if there was a cool Minecraft server that I made, I could have other Facepunchers join, and they would whitelist by posting in the thread. And so you would have this kind of idea of like, people would post in the thread and say, I want to be whitelisted, and then you'd whitelist them. And if they screwed something up, if you like griefed you or something, then you'd post in the thread saying, hey, like Chezhead griefed my server or something, right? And so you kind of had this community of trust. And then so people within the Facepunch community, not just the Minecraft Facepunch community, would know that you're an asshole. And so it's kind of that was kind of the way that the Facepunch worked, right?
Yeah.
So I made a thread on the first thread about 2B2T on the Games in Progress forum, just saying it was like 2B2T on the shoulders of giants or something. And I posted like maybe 10 pictures and kind of a little bit philosophical about it, and encouraged other people to join it. I was just kind of trying to show off a cool thing. And then so sure enough, more and more people come on, and then we're kind of making this little base. We get griefed, and we go on to another base and get griefed. And it worked out really well because you would like only whitelist people if they were on Facepunch before the thread existed, right? And they had maybe like 300 posts or something. And so no one wanted to ruin their Minecraft Facepunch reputation by griefing the base or leaking cords or something like that. And so you had this really nice web of trust. And so then we had our little bases, you know, like 4 creations in the corner, 2K, that kind of stuff. And at some point, little spin-offs would happen because people that were like, let's say Swedes or something, you know, you had like a group of like 10 of them, they would also join, and they'd all get whitelisted, all they kind of get in this thread. And they would have their own base that was like loosely Facepunch affiliated. And if someone from Facepunch really wanted to know where it was and kind of begged enough for the coordinates, they'd probably give it to them. But you understand what I mean by this kind of web of trust, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's kind of when it kind of splintered off into, it was all under Facepunch, but you couldn't trust everyone, right? Someone could just make an account and then try to get whitelisted into these different, like get the cords for different bases, but only if they got trusted. And so that's kind of where it went. It was never like, I tried to kind of keep a cohesive vision for it. Like I was like the mayor and I tried to make little politics and everything. But in the end, it ended up being just a republic where I was like the most trusted guy that had all the cords for all the bases. And so I could like kind of resolve disputes a little bit and like lead people over to certain bases if I thought they could do help there. So yeah, it was just a republic at that point. And at some point, I think I got like busy with school or something, or left it.
What was the history of the Facepunch War?
I didn't like think about it as like a war. It's more just like there's you versus the griefers, right? Mm-hmm. So a little bit of strategy you'd have from this is that anytime anyone would get any coordinates, they just go to them. So you had to have like if you had a group of 10 people, you had to have absolute trust within those, because one of these people, a single one person could type 2 digits, like could type 2 numbers into the chat or something, and it'd be the nuclear option. Your entire base would be destroyed forever and ever, and these codes would be written down, right? And so that's kind of when I think of the war, I just think of a period of mistrust where it got popular enough that people would start kind of getting into some of the bases and then just leak the codes for the lulz. So you'd have face punchers, maybe like 5 years older than us naive like grade school kids or whatever. They kind of like just socialize their way into these kind of things and then just kind of get the codes and then tell their buddies like, hey, you know, we can take the space, watch these babies cry, ha ha ha, that kind of thing, right? And so I think it wasn't like a war necessarily, as it was just like, how I understand it is just people just taking advantage of the situation to do some lulz, you know, cause some chaos, watch some kids get upset, get butthurt, that kind of thing. So yeah, that concept of like this mutual trust is really important, I think, in the 2v2t. Is anyone could just ruin an entire base just by knowing its location, just by knowing like 2 words, 2 digits. It's insane. Yeah, there's actually a sci-fi book called Dark Forest by this Chinese sci-fi author called Liu Cixin, and it has this concept in it, and it came out after 2v2t obviously, but there's really interesting analog between the two.
What bases were the most memorable during the Facepunch era?
Creationism Corner, that is absolutely the most memorable. I don't really remember any of the other ones, but I think Creationism Corner mostly because I spent most of my time there. That was like the first time where everything kind of got up. I made a little YouTube video about it, and I still like sometimes like in my dreams or whatever, I can kind of imagine walking through it, my little secret hole beneath this like pond of water and everything, a little farm, like the main entrance area. And then after that, there's one I don't remember the name of that we just kind of like found this base that was pretty cool underground, and we just kind of took it over and modified it a little bit. It was like this underground little I don't know how to describe it. It was pretty cool. But Creations of Corner really was the big one. Maybe 2K2K, but Creations of Corner was the biggest one.
What was your favorite memory on 2b2t?
Yeah, I think just Creations of Corner, right? There was like we had this base or whatever. I think I might even leak the chords in the YouTube channel, in the YouTube video or something.
Really?
And it was just kind of fun, like just kind of walking around there and just like having all my little friends around and everything. And we'd just kind of be chatting. We all have little things to do. Like one of us would be a farmer, one of us would be a scout or whatever. And then at some point, like one griefer came over and we killed him or whatever. But at that point we knew, oh, well, the chords are leaked now. He's just going to come back with his friends. And so we all had like run away to some other base. And then sure enough, like 10 minutes later or something, you have like all this, everything just gets fucked up. And yeah, that was probably my favorite memories. Just that whole like panic sets in, and then we all have to rush and solve that problem.
How did the Facepunch era end?
I can't tell you because I left at some point, like I think maybe even like 2 or 3 months into it. My memory's so foggy on this kind of stuff, but I think probably just lack of interest at some point. Like the amount of people that would say they were Facepunch Republic would kind of go lower, and at some point there's like, I'm sure there's some people that still consider themselves based or still on 2b2t or something. But it fractured. It was like a republic of different places. And to be honest, I mean, the only thing that made it Facepunch Republic was kind of me calling it that and making little threads. And at some point, I left, and then there's just different little bases around and got scattered. Like if the Roman Empire fell and broke into different little constituent bodies, it's still technically the Roman Empire, but just different parts of it.
Do you have anything else you want to add to your time on CBCT?
I think it was just really fun and kind of like right now where I am in life and everything, just kind of how like leadership, I guess, is really an important concept in what I do for work and how I make money and what I kind of find meaning in my life right now. Like, I'm just 23 now, and I'm just kind of coming to the workforce, for instance, out of college. And even in college, I was did kind of some sort of leadership position. Same in high school, I was like a leader of a tech club. And now I'm trying to train new employees and everything. And so I think 2B2T kind of gave me that knowledge and kind of gave me a little bit of a little taste of it, right? I mean, because no one knows that you're at the 7th grade when you're on the internet. I mean, they can kind of guess if you're older and everything, but it was just like a nice way to kind of learn how to cooperate with people. Like people talk about video games being good for you for helping reflexes or something, but Minecraft is like an open slate, and you can learn a lot from it. Not just like how to solve problems or build things, but also how to be a leader in these multiplayer contexts. And it kind of opened my eyes to I'm sitting on my computer in 7th grade or whatever, but I'm actually in connection with people all around the world, and I wouldn't give that up for anything.
Wow. Thank you for the interview.
Oh, thank you. This has been fun. Yeah. Just let me know if you have any other questions.
All right. See ya.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks for watching. I will leave Chezhead's channel in the description. Leave a like on the video, and maybe consider subscribing for more videos like this in the future. Anyway guys, stay fast, and see you guys next time.